Hello everyone, I'm Jason from Huawei. I'm also the vice chair of the testing working group in OneM2M. So this is the discussion topic about the collaboration between OneM2M and Eclipse. So I will just use one sentence to describe every slide. So OneM2M is a globalized IoT standard that is joint funded by 8 of the regional SDOs with over 200 members to define the IoT service layer standards. And the objective is to provide a common service function between different verticals and applications to have a shared infrastructure that all the applications can use. So OneM2M is a RESTful architecture. It provides common service entities, and it uses resources to represent all those services. And those resources are addressed by CRUD requests to access those resources, services. So OneM2M have a very active collaboration with all the surrounding ecosystems from different verticals and also the open source projects. It also have a very strong base of open source and commercialized products of support. I know everyone already knows Eclipse OM2M. It's an Eclipse open source project that is implementing OneM2M. So here is the discussion point where to start. So what I want to propose in Eclipse is how to do the interworking with the Eclipse open source projects and the other OneM2M based products like the OneM2M based device gateway and the platform. So one of the topic is the OSGI interworking. So basically, I know that in Eclipse Foundation, we have Eclipse Smart Home, Eclipse Kura, which are smart home gateways and industrial gateways. We can use the OSGI interworking technology to interwork those services defined in, for example, Eclipse Smart Home to OneM2M resources, so that the application to the northbound of the OneM2M platform can easily access to those resources, which perfectly joins the two ecosystems together. And this technology can then be replicated to the other OSGI-based devices and gateways, for example, the Eclipse Kura and some other proprietary OSGI gateways. They can also follow this technique to do the interworking. We have been leading 2 work items, one in OneM2M about the OSGI interworking and the other RFC in OSGI community about the interworking with OneM2M. So this is a detailed diagram of how this can be done. Majorly, it's just mapping the services defined in OSGI to OneM2M resources in the OneM2M common service entity. And the other thread is we call it the agent-based interworking. So main objective of this kind of interworking is for the Eclipse Hono as the data injector can inject the data both to the OneM2M platform, which means if possible, that for the other, we can extend the protocol adapters to many of the others, and all of them can follow the TSs and TRs defining OneM2M standard, and then the data can comply to the OneM2M information model specification, and then the data can be consumed by the other OneM2M platform as well. Of course, in this procedure, we can use the Eclipse Virtual for the mapping of the different information models. So this is another thread. The third one is use OneM2M as devices, because we know that in some, especially in the South Korea market, there are some like some products that complies to OneM2M, like the kids watch, like the home gateway, that complies to OneM2M. Then we are trying to investigate how to combine those devices with the Eclipse community. For example, we have these 3 open source projects on the device side of the OneM2M standard. One possible way is that we develop a protocol adapter in Eclipse Hono, and then the Eclipse Hono can support the connection of those OneM2M devices, and then the data can be injected to Eclipse Capua and Eclipse Ditto. So this is the overall joint architecture. Everything is just reflecting what I have just described. So some potential activities for this kind of joint collaboration is basically the mutual acknowledgement of the organization, like the partner type 2, and some liaison, some MOU, something like this. And the second one is some exchange of the member companies, like if we can do some advertisement in OneM2M, the companies that are OneM2M will get better knowing of what Eclipse is doing and come to contribute to Eclipse open source projects. And the other one is the joint events. because there are regional OneM2M showcases in Europe, in North America, in Japan, and we have Eclipse Conf from Eclipse side, so there may be some, and also the OneM2M Intop test events. So we can use these events to have the joint collaborations. So this is pretty much what I have, so any questions, and we can have the discussion.
So thank you. Can you just back up? So I think there's 3 areas of kind of a technical, right? So stop there. So that's area number 1?
Yeah, the OSGI interworking is area number 1. This agent-based interworking is area number 2. And use OneM2M as device is area number 3.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So, questions? Stefan? Or discussion? No, you have to have a question. You put up your hand. So, can you go back to the first one? I'm just trying to, so I'm not familiar with the interworking architecture. So how is that, how would that work? You can spend a bit more time on that?
Yeah, so for the OSGI interworking, we have 2 demos in this Eclipse call, one from us and the other from Orange and Dutch Telecom. So the basic idea is that this is interworking from the OSGI DAO service, the device abstraction layer defining OSGI, to the OneM2M resources. So what we have been done is that we have contributed some code in Eclipse OM2M. So from Eclipse OM2M, in the OSGI framework, we will monitor the registration of the other OSGI services. So once monitored the registration of the services will be mapped to the OneM2M resources. So we have lots of different resources in OneM2M, some of them representing device, some of them representing application, and some of them representing the services. So this is mostly one-to-one mapping. Yes?
Is this layer, you mean this is on the gateway layer, right? This OSGI interworking service? And this mapping is done in the backend, or?
It's on the gateway. Yeah.
And so does Christian or Marco, does Kuro support this now? The OSGI internet working service? Do you know, or?
So, no, actually,
You don't know. Okay.
I don't know. So I mean, if there's a presentation later on, it would be interesting to know. I guess it's something. Is it something you have tried on Kura, or is it just a proposal for now?
This is something we have been trying to do in Kura. Yeah, but up to now we didn't manage to do so. So that's why we are looking for help in this area to see if we can do this way. Yeah.
So you've actually tried it with Kura, but it's not working?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. And then in smart home, I guess it does work, because that's where Orange and
that was my colleague from the team that represent them all.
Okay.
Yeah.
Talk and certainly exhibition as well.
Right.
But the prerequisite for this OSGI interworking service is that the layer underneath is aligned to the OSGI DAO, the device abstraction layer. So Jason is saying. And so for Eclipse Smart Home, there is then this additional layer that exposes the Eclipse Smart Home internal devices and everything that is connected as OSGI DAO devices. And once these services are available within the OSGI framework, then this interworking can use that.
Got it. Okay.
And just for me to understand, what it then does is expose these device service instances from within the OSGI framework by means of the MCC protocol. Is that a protocol? Is MCC a protocol?
It's a reference point defined by OneM2M. It's an interface. Yeah.
And what does it define? A transport protocol and REST resource or something?
So it's a REST for resources, but the rest of resources we used the HTTP CoAP and MQTT WebSocket, the bindings to access to the resources. Yeah.
Okay, but the first part of what I said is still true, right?
Yes.
The idea is that these device instances are exposed by means of MCC so that they can be accessed from one MTM backend platform.
Yes. Yes.
Are there other areas that we could be putting in the internet? the OSGI layer, the OSGI let down, like, so there's Kira, I guess IO would be another area, potentially. Potentially. It's actually not OSGI based though. Right?
Yeah.
Okay, so it has to be OSGI based.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes, yes,
okay.
it's always
Okay.
right.
But frankly speaking, on the device, on the gateway layer, this is just, I would say, like another layer on OSGI to make the different gateways, let's say, speak with each other about this interworking layer, right? By this DAO abstraction. So, but it's not meant that they don't need to be different gateways, right? What about smart homes and Cura being together? Or do they need to be separate on separate gateways?
There's no restriction. So basically what we are doing is there's going to be a new bundle. The bundle is going to be running on the same OSGI framework as either Cura or Smart Home. That is converting the Cura to a OneM2M compliant middle node. Yeah, so this is what we are trying to do. Yeah, and that the converting is bi-directional. Yeah. Yes?
One question, are you aware of your colleagues that are also part of the W3C?
Yes, he's my colleague.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because they have been presenting the solution that exactly this interworking gateway and so on can be described to the outside with the thing description. So do you have any plans to also maybe include that, or is there something you are missing to implement that?
The W3C interworking is one of the active work items we are leading in OneM2M. The two interworking I have mentioned here is mostly from the interworking of the existing Eclipse open source projects to OneM2M infrastructure. W3C interworking is of course within the domain of this, but this we need some more further study on how on the software layer, how can we do this? Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, maybe if the ThinkWeb project goes through, it would be a nice combination to take some source code from there to make this work.
Yes.
Okay, so this is topic number 2.
Yes. So this one is about.
Sorry, did we already agree to, we want to do number 1?
Well, so
Is there any result coming out of it?
go back to number 1. So I think smart. So one more slide back.
Okay.
So smart home, they're doing already.
It's already was, check.
Yeah. So T Labs and Orange.
It's not part of the Eclipse Smart Home project. So
It's just a net.
Right.
it's just a layer that's put on top of Eclipse Smart Home to make that work.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's an add-on to smart home, right? But
Will that be part of Smart Home or OneM2M or will that just be on GitHub?
Who's maintainer decided? Yeah.
you.
No, not me.
In fairness, I think a lot of this is research, right? We're trying to kind of experiment here with
Yes.
this approach, right?
Yes.
So I don't think today we need to kind of worry about production ready.
But there should be a use case maybe behind it that could drive it much more, because to make it happen in smartphone, I understood that's a good thing. It's also compliant to the OneM2M standard then, but a little bit missing for me at the moment is, okay, what do we have then? And maybe the guys show it tomorrow in the demo. Maybe you have it tomorrow, but at the moment,
Yeah, so speaking about the use cases, there are a lot of industrial, the vertical domains in OneM2M that we are using, trying to use the OneM2M architecture to fulfill those use cases. So OneM2M is more like a common enabler, like a capability provider that can enable multiple use cases. There's a whole document of use cases defined in OneM2M that we can all map to these scenarios.
So I think from my, if I understand this correctly, so imagine a world where there's a lot of OneM2M platform providers, right, going out and retail telcos, enabling their customers, right, to build IoT solutions supported by OneM2M backend, right? What this is going to do is allow our gateway projects to be able to easily talk to those backends. Is that Is that correct?
Yeah, that's
Right,
correct.
So to me, that's the use case, right? It's enabling our projects to kind of work within the OneM2M ecosystem.
I think we all understand the benefit of having that.
Yeah.
And I think that's a good addition. I think, or at least my concern would be, if I tomorrow say, yeah, well, I have attended the conference today, I want to use that software. Where do I get it? Do I have to go to a GitHub repository where some intern has done some code 5 months ago? Or is it part of a managed repository or a managed project that somebody feels actually responsible for? I think this is what people need in order to actually have trust in this, that this is a supported technology, or that this is somehow being an intended usage of both smart home and Cura and OneM2M. So I think talking about where should this be hosted or where does it find its home is an important question of these interoperability discussions.
So currently the code is contributed to Eclipse OneM2M. So it's already in the community. We can download it from the Eclipse OneM2M repository. What we are trying to do now is how to integrate Eclipse OneM2M together with Smart Home, with Eclipse Cura and the other OSGI gateways to make them work together. So with this part, it's still experimental work, and we are trying to figure out how to combine the two OSGI gateways together. Maybe we can put the bundle from here to the, for example, for Cura to change it to OneM2M, or we can find some other ways to make the interconnection between the two gateways to virtually become one gateway, then to convert it to a OneM2M compliant entity.
But to me, long-term success of this would be that, I don't know if it's part of the default download or install Smart Home Cura, right? Or it's an optional, right? But success long-term, I don't think we have to decide today whether, but long-term, that this would become an option for these gateway projects, right? That their end users can use.
Yeah, but that is something that you need to convince the maintainers of these
Absolutely,
projects.
absolutely,
Or you can put this also if you want, so the Eclipse OneM project. So the Eclipse OneM project provides adapters for Eclipse Smart and Eclipse Cura.
Yeah.
Putting it the other way around.
That's more or less the approach, how it's done currently. So the prototype is actually accessing the Smart Home to its REST API. So this part is not part of the Smart Home. The stack that is running there, but it's really something external. So it's rather having done OneM2M Smart Home compatible and not Smart Home being OneM2M.
I guess it could go in the IoT market too, right?
Sorry.
In the IoT market, the smart home market, it could be.
No, the point is that
It's not part of the Smart Home runtime. It's part
Yeah,
of the
yeah.
OneM2M stack.
Okay.
Yeah, but you can install it additionally to Smart Home.
So if you want to run somewhere else and access to the rail later, maybe even on a separate node.
Isn't it your number?
It's
an agent, basically.
Yeah. So I think, so I think,
It's rather an agent than we've been implemented already, no? Like some external entity that moves.
so I think one of the action items, what I'm hoping this week will be Jason and the Cure guys will talk about kind of what's possible and maybe help Jason with his problems with trying to make this work with Cure, right? And if it works, all that's going on with Smart Home. And to me, success would be is like in a couple months' time, you come back and say, okay, here's the progress, right?
Yes.
Right? And then we start talking about how we make this available to the community. Okay?
I think as a community, broader community, we should find a few integrations that we want to try as a community to support. Don't want to, this is not a dictatorship, so we certainly don't want to force anybody, but I think we want to encourage ones that we think are beneficial for the entire community. And I think there's also areas of practice that I think that we should look at, like development workflows for IoT or testing for IoT.
So the next topic,
Okay.
is Jens has a list of here's potential areas across
Yeah, because I think that's really important. I think we need to start looking at how a user
Yeah.
would use these and how we can, eventually I think we need to agree to ways that we can integrate our projects so that we can all benefit from the work that we're doing in ways like you're talking about.
Right. And so to me, this is more, it's integration with another organization. Right. So, which I think is completely valid, right? So okay, what about this number 2? So where are we at with this?
So this one is mostly how to connect Eclipse Hono to the other OneM2M platform. So when I say OneM2M platform, it means many of the companies, they have their own OneM2M
Like
platform.
Huawei has one. Right?
Yeah, we have one. Yeah.
So how would we hook up Arno to
Yes.
Huawei? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So for me to understand this better, does this mean that the OneM2M interface at the top, that is a custom implementation or adapter that you would build in order to connect to Eclipse Hono?
So what I'm thinking is that there will be something inside Eclipse Hono to talk the OneM2M primitives. Something like this.
Is that also a standard interface like the MCC?
Yes, it's a standard interface. Yeah.
And the idea is that Hono would then push that data to the OneM2M platform? Or
Yes.
the other way around, that OneM2M platform pulls data from?
It can work both ways because OneM2M platform can be also a client or a server. Yeah.
But Huawei sends information using AMQP, right?
Yeah, but we usually send it to an AMQP network.
Right.
So we either expect that the other side is also AMQP1 compliant, or no, we always expect that the other side is AMQP1 always compliant. But depending on what you have in your network, if you have a broker in there, for example, then you would have basically 2 parties connecting to the broker and getting the data through the broker to the other side. Versus we connect peer-to-peer, then we would send directly to the OneM2M platform.
Okay.
But if I understand you correctly, then you would expect that Hono actually does not send its data by means of AMQP1.0, but by means of the interface defined by OneM2M.
Yes, because what I'm trying to do here is try to connect the Eclipse Hono with those existing OneM2M platforms. So that it makes it impossible to make something new in their platform. But what we can do is to have some new services in Eclipse Hono that can talk OneM2M.
So the OneM2M interface that you have depicted here, is that also REST-based, or what is it?
It's REST-based. Yeah.
Does it have to be REST-based?
It supports HTTP, CoAP, WebSocket, and MQTT at the moment. And the serialization supports XML, JSON, and CBOR. Yeah. The only difference is the information model. I mean, in the payload of the message, that may need some mapping. So I think this part can be done.
Not in this case, because Hono doesn't care about the payload anyways. It just takes whatever it gets from the devices and forwards it downstream.
Okay.
So that either is already in a format that you can understand, or there has to be some other component in between that actually transforms the source payload format from the device into your OneM2M data. But Hono itself will not do that.
Okay.
That's not what
We
it's.
also, it sounds like a job for an additional component there. As you said, maybe another broker to get that and then do the transformation.
Yeah, in order to get this up and running, that would probably actually be the best option, to have something in between Eclipse Hono and OneM2M, something that to the south side speaks AMQP1.0 and can get the data from Hono, and to the north side translates that to your OneM2M interface.
So what you actually need is a conversion between AMQP 1.0 and 1.0.
Yes.
So can I suggest this is probably more, it's really Hono specific, right? So maybe you guys can kind of find time this week to kind of explore whether different approaches, whether this makes sense, right? Whether there's interest.
Yeah.
But, I'm not sure if going deeper in right now is that useful here.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay? But you know Kai.
Yes.
So next slide.
So this one is using OneM2M as a device because OneM2M have three different product types. One is the IN, which is infrastructure node, is the platform, and the other two is application service node, and the middle node, they correspond to device and gateways. So Eclipse OM2M, they have ESN and MN device profile, which can serve Eclipse OM2M as a device or gateway. And this OS IoT is an ATIS open source project for the constrained OneM2M compliant devices. And there's another open source community in South Korea, so this is another open source OneM2M device. So this activity, we can connect the OneM2M gateways and devices to the other Eclipse open source projects. So the idea is by adding another protocol adapter for OneM2M that can perfectly interlock those devices.
Have you tried to write a
Not yet.
Okay.
This is just a proposal.
Can you elaborate a little on the protocol that the OneM2M devices speak to? Is it also, again, REST-based?
Yeah. Yeah, REST-based with everything, yeah. With
REST
all.
or MQTT?
Well, OneM2M is a RESTful interface, but it can be binded to the MQTT protocol. Yeah, we are using MQTT as the transport layer of the OneM2M RESTful interfaces. Yeah, but of course it supports MQTT.
But then one question, why can't you use the protocol adapter for MQTT right now?
Yeah, that's the part I need to, because OneM2M is using MQTT a little bit different because OneM2M have specified MQTT topics to do the connection. So, yeah.
But maybe, so this is probably part of the same conversation, and this might be a good test upon doing protocol adapters, right? Right, so, okay. Perfect. Is it what you wanted?
Yes, perfect.
Okay. Okay.
So for these potential activities,
Yeah, so I think the kind of the membership stuff that you and I can work on that.
Yes.
Right? And I think most of the stuff here is probably myself and Benjamin kind of coordinate with you on stuff like that.
Okay.
I guess for the technical solutions, where would you like the discussion to happen? Should this be on the mailing list? Should this be on the OM2M mailing list? Just separate email threads? Like how would you like to get that conversation going after?
So for the technical discussion, I will discuss directly with the open source project, the project leaders. But if we are talking about how to make both organizations to understand better each other, then I think maybe something can happen in OneM2M meetings as an invited speaker to the technical plenary to talk about all the Eclipse open source projects, what they are doing, and how the collaboration can be done. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good.
Thank you.